This meeting is being recorded.
That's it. Back to the good old COVID Zoom call days.
Oh, do you remember those?
Got to love it.
Them's were the days.
Yeah. So this is the Crowding the Fantasy League week 3 recap and week 4 preview. And yeah, we're just going to jump right into it. We had some injury news from Thomas earlier on in the week, so we're going to jump to him for the Fantasy A&E.
Here we
Take it
go.
away.
Fancy A&E. So I am going to go quick fire. So take your time on listening to this one, but let's go through all the key positions. As you know, these are fantasy relevant injuries. This isn't the whole world of NFL. This is just the fantasy relevant one. So starting off with QBs, we've got Justin Fields, who's still suffering from concussion. There's no firm timeline of when he's going to come back. So he is questionable for this week. Obviously, we know about Joe Burrow. He is not coming back. He's on IR. He's out for 3 months with Brock Purdy. Then with shoulder and toe injuries, he is questionable to return week 4, so keep an eye out for that. Jaden Daniels is questionable to come back with a knee injury and coming up this week. He was out week 3. And JJ McCarthy is definitely being ruled out as well coming into week 4. So those are the quarterback ones. Have a look on your waiver wire, see what you can get there. Moving on to running backs, Tyrone Tracy is doubtful and is estimated a 2 to 4 week return with a shoulder injury. So Scatterboo is going to have some hard runs coming his way, so keep an eye out if he is on your bench as well. Another fancy impact, Zach Charbonnet with foot is expected to return week 4. Now, this is going to have some impacts on Kenneth Walker, so they might go back to that 50-50 split again. You might have seen the peak of Kenneth Walker going there. James Conner, ankle out for the season. Najee Harris, again, Achilles out for the season. So we mentioned it earlier in the week. Trey Benson and Amarian Hampton are going to get some reviews there. So this is a good time to pick them up or trade for them. Lots going on in wide receivers, so I'm going to fire through these real quick. Mike Evans, hamstring, he is doubtful and will be looking at a 2 to 4 week return line. CD Lamb, ankle, even though he's walking up and down the sideline, he is doubtful with no timeline to return with that high ankle sprain. Moving on to Terry McLaurin, he is questionable, more than unlikely going into this with a quads injury. Juwan Jennings, shoulder ankle injury. He is day-to-day and questionable to return week 4. Some other ones as well. Xavier Worthy is questionable, so keep an eye out on that one. That could indicate he is close to making a return after that team-on-team injury from Travis Kelce, but he could be making a return soon. And another one, this is coming at good timing, seeing as Mike Evans is out. Chris Godwin, ankle, is questionable, but is looking to return week 4. So if he is on your waiver wires with Mike Evans coming out and Chris Godwin coming back, he could be worth a pickup. Now, on the lighter side of things, George Kittle in tight ends. George Kittle hamstring, he is on IR, looking to return week 6. And then Evan Ingram back, questionable. He was ruled out week 3, so may return week 4, depending on how that progresses. But that is your fancy A&E for week 3. I must
Very
admit
nice roundup. Very
that
nice roundup.
yeah, that Bucks wide receiver room is shredded. It is torn apart.
Yeah, it's just as I say. Well, Egbuka was already questionable for the
He was
last game as well, and obviously he'll continue to like play through it. But yeah, it's pretty bare, and yeah, Evans definitely looks like he's going to miss some time. So, but
yeah.
I did pick up Chris Godwin in a league. I saw him there. I was like, well,
Well, here we
they've,
go. This
they've got
could
to throw to
this could
somebody,
change a
you
few
know.
things.
It's
Yeah. No, I'm
yeah.
sitting there just like, oh my god, I've got a Buka in the league and I see him as questionable. I'm like, oh please, 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 just let that be
Yeah,
me.
because if he
Well, he was
plays, he's
questionable
just going
last
to be.
week, but he's fine this week, which I've noticed. So I was like, oh, okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I think he's full participant in practice, but yeah, that's grand. Who else in there was I going to talk about? Oh yeah,
I
you see
mean, Cameron Ford.
Terry
Oh yeah,
McLaurin's going to go and see a core muscle specialist or something along those lines,
I
which
saw that.
is never a good sign. That means that somebody's given him bad news, and he's going to go and get a second opinion, effectively. So yeah, you could get like news breaking by Saturday saying that he's on IR or something, but yeah, we'll see.
Exactly. At the moment, it's just questionable, and I mean, luckily, because Debo Samuel has been actually quite good for them this year as well. Luckily, like Debo can pick up the slack a little bit.
Yeah. See
And
that that trade
that's
you made
trade.
for Debo.
Yeah,
That's dirty. Like it's dirty, man.
Travis Hunter
Yes.
for Debo. Yeah, I mean that's all right.
Just hoping Debo's only like a 1 year loan and he just completely falls off a cliff at the back end of this year, but we'll see.
Well, so he is getting older. He's in his 30s. So the Dynasty League trade that we made for that, it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting. But then it all depends on who am I going to throw away my first round pick on.
That's
That's
it.
the thing. Yeah, no.
That's it. Yeah, first round pick sounds great, and then you see
And then,
the pickings, and they're like, "Oh my God!" Right?
I know. I'm just
Oh
going to be
God.
watching non-stop college football to try and understand who's going to be a good lead
Really,
this year.
you just want my dynasty team to be really bad, which fortunately we are at the moment, and then
I I
you
think
get a
I'm
really
0
good
and
pick.
3. I don't think I'm having much luck in the Dynasty
I think
League.
you're 0-3. I think I'm 1-2, so it's not good. The fantasy XFL team, and the one that I said I had the excellent draft in, looking pretty good at the moment.
I'm feeling quite lucky in the Fancy XFL because I'm going against somebody else who's 0 and 3 as well. So I might have a chance here.
Hmm,
But I'll tell
fair.
you what, my fancy team name of injury prone RBs with Chris
Mhm.
McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. Whew, I mean, that's turning out to be a pretty solid selection here. And then luckily I did have the backups of a couple of people who did get injured. So I do have Mason and Benson on that team.
This is the thing. Like my like I had James Conner in a couple of leagues, so that's knocked me for six. So it's just yeah, you just have to deal. You have to deal with injuries, and this is where your pivots come in. This is why you draft your deep sleepers and all that kind of stuff. You really hope that when the injuries hit, you've got somebody who's just like starting to take off, or you've got somebody's handcuff or something like that that you can then just slot into your starting lineup. But it's a rough start of the season.
And you know who I'm surprised hasn't got more game time. I know we're talking about rookies and not sure about where they're going to sit and injuries throwing everything up, but even like rookies who, okay, they're behind a couple of people, but and those people haven't got injured, but they're just playing terrible. Why is Henderson not getting the ball in the Patriots? I don't
I
understand this one.
mean, that
Between
is
Stevenson and Gibson dropping the ball so many times,
was it three fumbles between the two
three
of them, and
fumbles
then
between
Drake
the two.
May fumbled it as well. That was a awful
Yeah,
game.
gotta hold that ball. I mean, there's no.
Well, Stevenson was twice like on the line. One of them, he was literally just about to score a touchdown, and he fumbled it. And you're like, right, what are we doing here? But no, he's got something against Henderson, which is strange because like the main reason you would let a rookie sit and not really use him is because he's got pass protection issues. But all we were hearing during camp was that Henderson's great in pass protection. There's no issue. He's a passing down guy. And yeah, they're just ignoring him, which is very strange.
And I thought as well because Stevenson was doing well. Like, there's no you're not going to call up a rookie if your main guy's doing well. You know,
Yeah,
you're not gonna play the third string Eagles back if Saquon Barkley's still running like an absolute champ. You know,
this is true.
so that makes sense. But now that Stevenson's getting all these fumbles
Yeah,
and the ball
yeah. You're
has
left
not
with like
been
a
into it,
conundrum
you're
there.
like, here we go. You should be sort of bringing him. I think Variable's going to make a change soon. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Like a lot of my thinking when I was going for like the hits kind of thing this week, I was like looking through and I was like, well, that rookie's gonna do well, and surely they're gonna give the ball to that rookie. And there's just like so many rookies that are stepping up. Oh, an interesting stat. You know, where like most running backs in the NFL have in around like 25 to 50% of their yards after contact.
yes,
So if their line's really good, they should be able to run 3 or 4 yards, hit contact, then run another couple of yards.
yeah.
What percentage of Ashton Genty's yards are after contact? You will not get this. This is the most insane stat somebody posted up the other day.
I mean, I know he's getting hit a lot,
Hmm.
so I'm gonna say I like how many yards? He got 150 in 3 games, something like.
Something along those lines. Something along those lines.
Okay, I'm gonna say 50%.
101% of his yards are after contact.
Okay, that's just nuts. So he's just getting
That's
smacked every single like
because he's being
as soon as
he
he's touching the ball,
yeah.
someone's on him.
because he's being hit behind the line most of the time. So he's being hit for like 1 or 2 yard loss, and then he's able to get out of that tackle and go for another like 3 or 4 yards. So those are all like, you know, 101% kind of carries because he's adding value to where he was actually hit. It's insane. And he was running guys over against the Commanders. Obviously, not a great game for the Raiders, but he was starting to show that he can actually bully people, which is good. So I'm gonna let Hilda out here. She's looking at me.
No worries.
Dog. The dog is interrupting. Right. I'm trying to think any thoughts on the quarterback injury kind of news because I
There's
haven't seen this
nothing.
many quarterback injuries at the start of the season in a long time.
I
We,
mean,
we we saw we
I
saw
suppose when
Carson
they,
Wentz versus Jake Browning at the weekend. Like, I mean, this is
yeah,
this is what
I
we're
mean,
reduced to.
that's what I was going to say. There was just, I mean, that Bengals team really just was shocking. That is,
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's their worst loss in league history.
I wish we could get the clip, but I did say in the show last week
Hmm.
that I had a feeling that I love Brian Flores and I love that Vikings defense, and I just had a feeling he was just going to cook up something because Browning's he's quite an like all or nothing kind of quarterback. So if you
Yeah,
just disguise a lot of zone reads and stuff like that, then
he's not
it
picking them
just,
up.
yeah, he just wasn't picking them up, and what 2 pick sixes in that game, it's
That
terrible.
Vikings defense getting 38 points is just
Mm.
absolutely ridiculous. But then also, that's the game script to beat Browning.
That's it. T.
You
Higgins
know,
had a really bad game, which
I,
which isn't good. I kind of
they
thought
all
Higgins would be all right, but I
they all had really bad games, didn't they? I'm trying to think. Did
think Chase still got the targets you would expect. I don't even think Higgins got targeted really in that game, which is always concerning.
yeah? Let me see. So, well, I mean,
Even Jefferson didn't have a great game. It was just one of those games that got away from them fast.
let's be honest. It's fancy football. We don't care about the amount of targets they get. It's the amount of points they get, and he only got 6.4.
How many targets did he get? Because I do look at targets. I do
Well,
look at targets.
he got 5 receptions.
Hmm.
5 receptions. He fumbled the ball and lost it.
That's not good.
No,
That's not good.
and then had 50 receiving yards,
Hmm.
which is not the best stats.
Not really. But like one of the things that we're talking about with the likes of Brian Thomas. So Brian Thomas has obviously been a disaster to start the season. But the good thing, if you're looking at it from like a glass half full, I drafted Brian Thomas in the first round. I need him to do something for me
Hmm.
eventually. They're funneling him the ball. They're just trying their
They're
best to
trying to
get
get
this
him,
guy
but like,
working. But there's crazy things. So he drops he drops two. There's one that he goes up for deep. That's a tough enough catch to make, but he's made the catch. He catches it, and then as he's coming down, whatever way he like knocks against the defender, the ball comes loose. Like, right, that was stupid. And then there's one later on where the ball just hits him right in the hands, and he's just throwing it on the ground. And then and even worse than that, like he's not on the same page as Lawrence. He's obviously not hearing the calls or whatever,
no,
because Lawrence takes the snap, looks to his left. He's always going to throw a wide receiver screen to the left and throws the ball. And Brian Thomas is 10 yards downfield. It was meant for Brian Thomas, and he's 10 yards downfield trying to block. So yeah, that's a concerning thing. But the positive is that he's still getting 10 to 15 targets a game.
he's still getting the targets. He's still getting, it's going to be a thing where he's going to break through. He's going to know that he's having a terrible season.
Mm.
You hope he's working on it. You hope your coach is working on it. You know,
Get working with what do they call it? The jugs machine, the one that just shoots the balls out.
yeah, just
Yeah,
get him
just
doing that.
stand there.
You know who else needs that after this weekend? Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison, oh, that drop on the
That
the deep
wide
throw.
open drop,
That's
he is
awesome.
just, and then I think I heard in the press conference after it, someone was like, "Oh, is Harrison not happy with like, the amount of touches he's getting?" And Kyler Murray's like, "I've got to dish the ball out,"
Yeah.
you
Listen,
know.
like some of your routes
But
are going
like,
to be. routes where you're taking two guys
Yeah.
away so that I can throw it to somebody else. I mean, that's the way it
I
works.
mean, and the thing is just like if he's making drops like that, I mean, that's game losing drops.
Yeah,
You just don't throw him the ball. If you can't trust his hands, you're not going to give him the ball.
yeah, it's
And
true.
you can't trust his hands. There was a lot of hype about him last season, and he had a couple of good games. Wasn't that great overall in the end, fancy wise. And this
Yeah.
year he's been massively disappointing. I think he was drafted quite late as well, so it wasn't like he had massively high value. But there's
I
no
mean,
there's no progression there.
it's one of the things, just like safe hands are just like
Yeah.
they're invaluable. Like what do you call them? The DeAndre Hopkins like famously had a
Hmm.
season where he had zero drops. Like that's the kind of thing you want, where you've got your top wide receiver. Every time the ball touches his hands, he's going to catch it.
Yeah. Whenever
But
you
you've had
talk
like
about
CD Lamb's had dropping issues this year. Just
whenever you
it's
talk about
epidemic.
best fancy or best wide receivers in NFL history, the people who keep coming up is like, the likes of Larry Fitzgerald.
Hmm.
You know, he doesn't drop the ball.
No,
Steve Smith, he didn't drop the ball.
Julio
You know,
Jones.
Julio Jones didn't drop the ball. That's how these are the elite wide receivers of the league is they consistently make their catches.
Yeah,
And you're just seeing a lot more of that.
give me the ball. Sorry. No.
But maybe his hands are broken.
Got a dog distract me with the ball as well. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Right. So again, same as last week, I suppose we'll just jump into we're talking about the games, we'll jump into the game picks and we'll see how we're getting on here.
Yeah, sure. Do we
Because
want
as
to
I
do
say, some of us are doing well, some of us aren't doing well.
a quick week 4 recap of the games that happened, or
Week
maybe
three,
even the
week
Cardinals?
three
Week 3
recap.
recap.
We'll fire these up on the screen. Where are we? There we go.
Let's see.
There we
Oh,
go. Adam is now
oh,
below 50%. I mean, this is
that
where we're
is
getting to.
that is shocking.
Obviously, he wasn't here, but as far as I know, you went by his list quite accurately.
Yep.
Obviously the Packers screwed him over, the Falcons screwed him over.
Well,
Ravens over Lions was a bit of a coin flip.
we gave him all the ones that were pretty much really high up on his list. He sent us the
Yeah.
list. He was like, "I want these ones on my lineups." But yeah, I mean, as terms of week 3 goes, Bills over
Yeah.
Dolphins, that was always a lock. Jags over Texans, that was very 50-50. I think we were mean on Nathan giving him that one so early, but Jags did manage to scrape the win on that one, even with all the handling issues that we talked about. Packers over Browns, that might be the most surprising loss I've seen all week. This is that Packers team was one that we were talking about a top 5 team, and they real fumbled their image this season.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness, no. There were
Bucks
what
over
10 there were 10 points up with about what 5 minutes to go or something on that one as well.
and then they just lost it. I mean, that is just showing that it's a completely. I mean, the defense did everything they could do.
You see with
They held
the
held them to 50
Falcons,
points.
did you see with the Falcons? The Falcons didn't cross the opposition 30-yard line all game. All game.
Now that's the biggest. You know what? That's calls for let's get Kirk Cousins back in the mix here.
Yeah, well, the couple of things I saw after it. So they fired their receiver coach for some reason. TJ Yates, who used to quarterback for the Texans, is now their receiver coach, which makes no sense.
No.
Zach Robinson, their OC, used to sit up in the booth calling plays. He's now being moved down to the sideline for the next game. And Michael Penix is 0-4 when the opposition score more than 6 points. It's
Which is
interesting.
the possibly the worst stat. Yeah, 2 field goals and your QB is gonna be it's
I
gonna be
know, I
Adam.
know, and they get rid of Koo obviously
Hmm.
and replace him with Romo, and then Romo
But like
and then
getting rid
Romo
of
misses two field goals as well. So what are you
I
gonna do?
mean, I just don't know. It feels like they've tried to like get a lot of like have a lot of scapegoats. It doesn't seem like they've made any. massive changes to the way the organization is going to run in terms of improving this? Because that's a season shifting loss right there.
Well, this is it. I mean, if we were going to do like the chances of coaches getting fired, we were going to do those kind of like rankings. What you look for when like before coaches get fired is, well, what are they doing in the background? And as you say, they're finding scapegoats in the background. They're like, right, we can blame the receiver coach, we can blame the OC's not on the sideline, we'll blame that, and we'll just keep firing people around the head coach. But eventually, by the end of the season, that gets to the point where they're like,
Yeah,
well, the head coach isn't helping us win, so we'll get rid of him
get rid of
because they're
him.
probably not going to get rid of the second year quarterback.
No,
That's
I mean they're going to give him a season, but if he's just not progressing and he's not growing, you got to bench, especially if there's a chance for you to make the playoffs.
Well, Raheem Morris, like the head coach for the
Yeah,
Falcons, just completely shut it down in a press conference. There was no discussion. It was like, oh, why did you put Kirk Cousins in at the end of the game? Oh, we put him in because the game was gone. We wanted to
yeah,
protect the kid. Is there a discussion about Kirk Cousins starting next week? No. And it was just
yeah.
like a blank, like, we're not even discussing this further.
I mean,
Penix is the guy.
Even when Kirk Cousins last year was playing poorly, they gave him about 3 or 4 weeks
Yeah.
before they said, we're going to bench him. But then, even still, you know, you only get what, 16, 17 games a season?
Yeah.
You know, are you really, really willing to sacrifice 25% of your games just because your quarterback might become good? Like, you need to make changes sooner. Maybe some changes will help, but that's ridiculous.
Suppose there were like some weird positives for like bad teams, I suppose. Like at least the likes of the Jets against the Bucks, you saw a fight in that game.
Yeah.
The likes
I
of
mean,
the even the Dolphins against the Bills, like that game on Thursday night was a lot
hmm.
closer than the scoreline suggests, even because there was a couple of plays at the end that swung that. So it looked like Mike McDaniel was going to maybe be sacked, and now that's changing a little bit. The Titans look really bad. There's
the
something
Titans
going
The
wrong.
Titans and the Texans, I think.
The Texans looked broken, and the Saints looked broken.
Yeah, I
So there's
look
two or three
the
teams that look
Saints.
completely.
The Saints just seem to be tanking. I don't know what the Saints' game plan is. It doesn't seem like they want to win. They haven't got the people in the positions. Um, who was it? Was it Tyrion Matthew as well? Like he retired this year because I think he just saw the team just had given up.
Yeah.
It's just not it's just not a cohesive unit. And you know what? You're probably going to see the Bengals giving up as well. But
But yeah, this is the thing.
their
Like, how
season
long do the Bengals try? Yeah.
their season's over. I think there's a sort of a point where okay, Browning had a good week whenever Joe Burrow got injured and he was feeding targets. But I had a look at that question there when you had about the targets. You know, when Joe Burrow got injured, that game when Browning came on, Jamar Chase had 15 targets.
Yeah.
He caught 14 of them, and he got a buttload of points. Last week, he got six targets.
Six target. Well, that's
Mm.
yeah. That's the way that game seemed to go. It didn't seem like the Bengals even had the ball in
No,
that game, like at all. Like if you look at the drive chart, it's just like three and out, three and out, three and out, three and out. And on the other side, it's just like these big long drives and all that kind of stuff. So strange game.
I mean,
Strange.
exciting news though. Like, I mean, talking about QB changes, and this is not an injury one, but the Chiefs over the Giants, and you
Yeah.
know, Chiefs managed to win that game. It was quite comfortable. Russ didn't have a good game after a dominant performance in that week 2 against the Cowboys. I know they still lost, but they're 0-3, and I think the Giants are thinking we've actually got some good wide receivers. We've got a hyped up, angry young running back. So they're now bringing in Jackson Dart.
But isn't this weird? Like how quickly things change. So week one, obviously, they were booing Russell Wilson. Then week
Yeah,
two, he throws for 450 yards.
yeah.
And then week three, they're booing Russell Wilson again. So it's just like
But the thing is,
hopefully the kid goes in and he can play the guitar and that team takes off. But more likely is the kid goes in and struggles because they've got
Yeah,
a really tough schedule.
it's not even a tough schedule. They still haven't addressed the problem, which is the O line. You
The
know,
O line's not great, but it's definitely not the worst in the league. And he does have Malik Neighbors there to throw to. They've got a
he's got
decent D line. They do have a lot of pieces, so it's just like
they've
they're
got
a confusing
they've,
team.
they've got good pieces, and this is probably what they want. They just want more consistency than Russell Wilson's going to give them.
What
Like
they
Russell
want to
Wilson's either
do,
going to 1 week have a 450-yard game, and then 1 week he's going to have 120.
what they want to do is like evaluate a quarterback properly for once.
Yeah.
You know, like Daniel Jones is out there balling at the Colts, and yeah, you just
I
wonder
mean,
what happened.
is I mean, if the Colts keep winning, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but the Colts have 6 games against pretty poor teams in their division.
Well,
So
this is
they
it.
face
Yeah.
the Titans twice, they play the Texans twice, and they play the Jags twice. And I'm not going to lie, the way the Colts are playing, that's 6 wins right there. They're a playoff team.
This is it, but I still don't even think you know exactly what the Colts are. The game against the Broncos was a big one, but
I
it
think
was a bit of
everyone
a
should.
layup against the Dolphins and a layup against the Titans. So the game against the Rams this week will definitely be a
Oh
big
yeah,
tester, big
I
tester.
mean, I
And
mean, I mean,
they haven't won in Jacksonville in about 10 years or something like that. So we'll see how they
yeah,
do this
definitely,
time.
definitely going to jinx that with Daniel Jones.
I really hope that I really hope I'm right that they just stink it up. Right, I'm gonna clear that. We're gonna get ready. We're gonna pick the other or this week's games.
Instead of
I'm
picking
trying to
for these
think.
guys, because we haven't got their picks,
Oh yeah, we don't have their picks. That is
should we just
very.
pick? Should we just pick 8 each?
We should just pick eight each. Hold on.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Why not, Matt? So
I would agree.
did I do better than you this week? I think so. So Matthew Thomas, Matthew Thomas, and like that's perfect. That's what you want right there.
Did you? Oh yeah, yeah, perfect.
That's
All right.
exactly what you want. We can like donate some of the bad games to Nathan and Adam.
Yeah, we can have a wild card game and we can choose, if we want to give that to Nathan or Adam, if they can
Yeah,
have it.
good point, good point. But yeah, we are going to have like the issue with this draft thing is that bye weeks are going to start to kick in, I think, next
Oh,
week. So
yeah.
um, we
It's,
will
it's all
see.
about, it's
We will
all about
see.
it's all about that percentage at the bottom.
Yeah, well, FanDuel, if we even just like stop the count now,
Yeah,
FanDuel kicked our ass. We even tried to derail FanDuel by giving them the Jags last week, and it didn't work.
it didn't work.
I actually
Didn't work.
think, yeah, you did like a reverse jinx kind of situation there, and the Jags won, so it's great.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we do a victory whiskey in this house every time the Jags win, and we didn't drink a lot of it last year, so it's still the same bottle. But we've had two this year so far, which is good. I'll take that.
Who you got
Right.
then? Who's your
Who,
first pick?
who would I pick first overall? I've got a pretty clear first overall. Actually, I
Yeah.
do have it circled. I'm going the Bills over the Saints, I think.
No arguments there.
I think it's like,
Absolutely no arguments at
you
all.
know, that just seems like the logical choice there. I don't know. The Browns beat the Packers, so who knows? But that seems pretty straightforward.
I'm gonna go for one which I think's a little bit of a iffy one considering what happened last week, but I'm like really confident the way this team's playing lately. Lions over Browns. I don't think the Browns are going to do what they did against the
Oh.
Packers.
No,
I
and
think that was,
Lions at
I,
home as well.
yeah, I think you saw the shutdown of the Packers.
Yeah, I had that number two on my board as well. That would have been my second. That would have been my second pick.
I mean,
Lions over Browns is just like,
considering a team that had two pretty dominant wins back to
yep.
back, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely a top." could be a top 5 team in power rankings. Nah,
Hmm.
they dropped right down after shitting the bed against the Browns.
No, no, you're right. I think, as you say, like the Lions, what they did against the Ravens is really impressive because it just shows how many different ways they can beat you. So you think even if the Browns shut them down one way, they'll come at you a different way, and they're in their own building. I don't know. That could be a big score. But it's like the Lions every time they play at home, they're scoring like 40 plus points. It's madness. Crazy. My next one I have jotted. I'm just gonna go by my list. Chargers over the Giants. I think we're already crapping on the Giants, but the
Yeah,
Giants are starting a rookie quarterback
that Chargers
against
defense
a
is pretty
defense
good as
that's been
well.
really good. Yeah, just I like maybe like Jackson Dart could really like revive that offense, but
Hmm.
Scatabo could run over a few guys. What is it? Have you seen like the whole thing? Just Scatabo just headbutts people. Like he's just
Yeah.
like if they actually called targeting on running backs ever, he would get a targeting call on pretty much every run.
But he's
That's
just,
ridiculous.
you know what? He's just so hyped. You can tell he's liked in that locker room as well. Like he puts his
Oh,
body on that line every
yeah.
run.
Well, the thing they were pointing out was like there's a terrible shot of Ashton Genty trying to block um for Gino. I think
Yeah.
probably playing against the Chargers, and he just doesn't. He just like he tries to push him, and then he gets
Yeah. He
shoved out of the way, and he just like stands and basically watches Gino get destroyed. And
just
then there's
stays around and hangs back a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, and then there's a shot of Scatabo in the Cowboys game where he basically just like headbutts a D lineman in the chest. You're like, this guy, get this guy in on my pass protection, please. Yeah. So there you go. Right, Thomas, what is your next one?
Okay, I'm gonna go Patriots to beat the Panthers.
Ooh,
That, you know what, we're not saying like the progress. That was a one-off win. That was just luck of the draw.
you,
I
you,
think the
you don't
Patriots
think?
are a better
Yeah,
team, better coached.
I do like the Patriots this year. I think, man, what they did, like the like crumbling against the well, not crumbling, but just throwing the game away really against the Steelers. Like what was it,
Yeah,
5 turnovers in the game,
they're not. Variable's not gonna have those drops again.
and
You
they're
know,
and they're
they
at
still,
home. So yeah,
yeah. Next one, I'm gonna actually say Broncos to beat the Bengals.
Broncos to beat the Bengals. I think
I think this is the
pretty
this is the
pretty solid.
Bo Nix breakout game.
Bo Nix breakout game. I like it.
This is
We'll be talk
the
we'll be talking about Bo Nix a little bit in our fantasy football advice chat after this. So stay tuned because
but
he's weirdly mobile.
if
Like
there's a defense that he's going to get good points on, it's going to be that Bengals defense.
yeah, this is true. Although quarterbacks didn't need to do anything the last couple of weeks, you really just hope that J.K. Dobbins and the defense don't go out and score like 50 points, because then Bo Nix is just going to be sitting there doing nothing for 60 minutes.
Might help his confidence, but yeah.
And the Broncos are at home. Yeah, that seems really straightforward. I'm gonna go number 4 on my board. I'm gonna go with the Packers over the Cowboys. I'm gonna go the Packers to bounce back, and the Cowboys without CD Lamb, with their defense being as bad as it is. I'm feeling the Packers in that.
Fair, valid. I mean, the Cowboys are at home, but that's not really much of an advantage. I don't think they've got a great home record, but you're right. Lamb out. There's not a lot of options there for.
Yeah, it's slim pickings.
Yeah.
Eh, eh, eh.
I'm gonna go right. Okay, I'm gonna go for one. Actually, no, I'm gonna go for one I'm a bit more certain on. I'm gonna go for Ravens to beat the Chiefs.
Ravens to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I had that as my 16th. I did not want to pick that game.
I
I think that's a caged animal game right there.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking that Chiefs team hasn't looked amazing offensively. They still got a couple of key injuries, things like that. Jackson can put up points.
Yep.
But I don't know if the Chiefs can match that momentum.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's like it's like it's strength on strength. So it's the Ravens offense against the Chiefs defense, and that's their two strengths. And then it's weakness on weakness. So it's whether the Chiefs offense can actually get going. I mean, that is
and Derrick
it's
Henry's
sad to
gonna,
watch. It's sad to watch.
Derrick Henry's going to be protecting that ball. Chiefs' run game's not been great.
He's fumbled 3 times this year.
Yeah,
That's
they
unbelievable.
fumbled. I think it was like three times in 647 carries last year. So it's not.
In fairness, the fumble against the Lions, it's a great play by Hutchinson coming and
Oh,
punch that ball out, but you've still got to hold it. And it's the fact that both of those fumbles, the fumble against the Bills and the fumble against the Lions, basically both of them lost the game. Like that's it. So it's hard to get over that. So yes, Ravens over Chiefs. Who do I have then? I don't know. My number five's not there. My number six is there, and I'm gonna go against my guys because we never do well against the Niners. Never do well against the Niners. It's like I think our last something like the last 3 games against the Niners, we've scored something like 15 points and we've conceded like over 100. It's just really, really bad like matchup for us for whatever reason. So even with the Nick Bosa injury, even with Mac Jones potentially starting, I
see,
don't like our chances.
this is what I was going to say though, because of Nick Bosa going down, that's a substantial injury for the 49ers.
It
Then
is,
they've
but
got Mac Jones. Then they don't have Kittle.
it does not
I,
matter.
I don't know. I feel like the writing's on the wall there for the Jags. I would have gone differently on that one.
I hope you're right. I'm part of me is like reverse jinxing it as well, but part of me is also like history. I'm like, I
Yeah.
have watched us be absolutely boat raced by this team every time we play them. I went over to Wembley to watch us play. Okay, fair enough. It was the Blaine Garrett led Jacksonville Jaguars against the Colin Kaepernick NFC Championship. Oh no, was it Super Bowl? Yeah, that was the year they made it to the Super Bowl, the Niners. And they beat us 42-10. And I mean, it should have been worse. I think they benched like most of their team. I think they were 35-3 up at halftime. I think they benched most of their team. So I've just watched us be destroyed by this team. Um, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully our offense wakens up. Brian Thomas catches some passes. And yeah,
You might
we
do.
get the win. Maybe,
Yeah, might get
maybe.
lucky.
What is my number? See, I'm not confident about this one. It gets real close the further down the list you go. So
Yeah,
it
there's a lot
does.
on there where I'm just like, I don't want to make that call.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably gonna take the Dolphins at home against the Jets. I don't feel good about it.
Interesting. No, that's one of those ones where it's like, that's so 50-50. Like, they're both,
Yeah,
I know you're talking about this, but they're both bad teams.
yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna go for the bad team that's playing at home, probably against Tyrod Taylor
Yeah.
or Tyrod Taylor, sorry, probably. But
Yeah,
yeah,
there's no,
yeah, that's unless no Fields might play this week. That changes the whole kind of dynamic of that game because bit of a mobile quarterback could change that. But I don't know. I don't know. I still think the Dolphins they showed a little bit against the Bills there if they just keep building on that. They showed a lot against the Patriots as well. Yeah,
maybe.
we will see.
I'm going to go for one which I think could be, we talked about earlier now. This one's going to be iffy because I love this other team. I think the QB is a top five QB this year, but I'm going
Um,
against them. I'm going for the Eagles to beat the Bucks.
Eagles to beat the Bucks. Yeah, the
But
Eagles are just it's one of those charmed kind of runs that they're on, isn't it?
well, I saw a stat today, and it's like whenever they have the full contingent of Barkley and Barkley and Brown
Browns. Yeah.
on the team. I think Smith as well. Like if they've got those four players playing, they've never lost.
Yeah, yeah, they're on
They're
crazy run.
18-0, something
Yeah.
like that, which is just an absolutely shocking stat. And like I like the Bucks. Like Baker's scrappy, but he doesn't have Mike Evans. He doesn't have Chris Godwin. He's only got the rookie Ibuka, who is brilliant,
Mm.
but he's got to carry that whole offense on his back. And they've won very scrappy games. Like it's always been the last 2 minute drive.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
no,
it's not, there's
I'm with
nothing
you.
really, locked in convincing.
Can we talk a little bit about how many blocked kicks there were last week? What is going
Oh,
on with blocked
so many
kicks?
block kicks.
You had
So many block kicks.
in fairness, the Will McDonald one against the Buccaneers, where he jumped over the line and made the block, was incredible. He returns that
Oh,
to the house, but the Eagles winning it at the end with a blocked
block kick.
kick returned is just unbelievable. It's crazy stuff.
And then it's absolutely wild that because that was in the last second as well, that the guy risked running it the whole way back.
I know.
Yeah, no, instead of just like diving
Just
on
go
it and
down,
holding that
go
ball, just go
down.
down, secure the game, maybe take a little bit of a hit, but like just
You know the way we
try and
talked
pick it
about
up
it.
on the
I
run
took Yeah,
and
I
run it
talked
the
about
whole
it
way back.
last week. Josh Sims, the O lineman for the Chiefs, chased back and made that tackle last week.
Yeah,
And on the Kelsey tip and the interception that was going to go the other way, and he reached like 18.3 mile an hour or something like that.
which is
Jordan
absolutely
Davis beat
wild.
that. Jordan Davis for the Eagles hit 18.5 something mile an hour. It's the fastest somebody over 300 pounds has ran like ever in the NFL. Unbelievable.
Which again is wild.
It's nuts. Can you imagine 330-pound lineman hitting you at 18 and a half mile an hour? Like
No.
that's effectively being hit by a car. I don't fancy it. So yeah,
But
cool. I
yeah,
like I
that's
like
that's
the
that's my risky
Eagles.
pick. But yeah,
No, I like it. I like it. I like it. I am gonna go feeling I'm feeling quite good about the Seahawks at the moment. They're playing Thursday
interesting.
night football at the Cardinals. Don't feel great about the Cardinals. Gonna go Seahawks over Cardinals. That's why I'm hitting.
Fair. No, fair. I think there's too many issues in the Cardinals at the moment. I think the
Like
Seahawks have it. And they've got Charbonnet back as well.
and Sam Darnold is playing just weirdly really good football and fantasy football wise. Jackson Smith and Jigba is like one of the best things out there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you have 320 yards or something on the season. It's mad. So yeah, trust that Seahawks team. I have spelled Seahawks wrong, but we trust that Seahawks team.
Trust them. In the Seahawks we trust. I'm
Mm,
gonna go
and
for
Seahawks.
Bears to beat the Raiders.
Yeah, like the Bears over the Raiders
Yeah.
as well.
I think Ben Johnson's is getting the stride a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think, I think that team's starting to go somewhere.
yeah. Some of the designs like the flea flicker kind of thing and stuff like that were fun. It was back to like the old Ben
That
Johnson.
that was good fun to watch actually. I enjoyed that.
The Lions double pitch thing against the Ravens. Did you see that one? Where Goff like hands it off to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who then pops it off to Jahmyr Gibbs on fourth down and goal, and he runs it in on the
No,
side. It's it's a great play. It just shows like what that team's all about. Who was it? It was Gibbs came out after the game and said that play has been on in their playbook for the last 3 years. That's the first time they've ever run it. Like that's big balls like Dan
Yeah.
Campbell just calling these things. I don't know.
I
Right.
love Dan Campbell for always going it on fourth down.
It's just
Love
so
it.
good.
That's just so good.
Yeah. Okay, there's the Bears. Cool, cool, cool. Right, what
Uh,
are you hitting us with?
Interestingly, and maybe we've gone for this one. I don't think we have. I'm going to go for the Colts to beat the Rams.
For the Rams. See, I've got that the other way around.
Well,
Because
I'm
that's
just
in
trying to
LA,
think.
isn't it?
I'm happy to take the lump. I quite like seeing Daniel Jones doing well.
Fair
I
enough.
was quite I mean I didn't like Daniel Jones in the Giants, but I maybe it was a Giants thing rather than a Daniel Jones thing.
Maybe, but Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're living in like an oasis in the middle of the desert at the moment, and at some point we're going to come out the other side and we're going to be dehydrated and we're going to just watch Daniel Jones throw interceptions again. Like that's just I can't believe that this is the world that we're living in where Daniel Jones is
But the
like some
Colts,
kind of god.
but the Colts seem to be rallying behind him. I mean, the offense is playing well. Like Jonathan Taylor, I haven't heard anything about him whining about wanting a trade. You know,
Yeah.
he hasn't got any niggling injuries or anything like that where he doesn't want to play. He seems to be, he's like the number one running back, I think, in the league at the moment.
He is, yeah.
You
Well,
know,
it'll help when you score three touchdowns and go off for like 150 yards against the Titans, who just cannot
Daniel
tackle for whatever reason.
Daniel Jones is having MVP conversations or early on. You know,
Yeah,
he's got some
that's not.
weapons. They've got a good defense. You know, I'm just like this Colts team could be for real.
So this is your pet team now. Now we're getting to pet teams. The Colts are your pet team, and I hate it.
I mean, I'm just like, I mean, how many weeks down the line, if they beat the Rams, are you going to be like, actually, the Colts are a real deal, or is there going to be a tough game the next week, and you're like, they have to win this one?
I don't know
Be the real deal.
who are they
You
playing
know,
next week? No, if they go out and they look really
they
good against the Rams, and even if they lose a close one or whatever, I'll be coming out at the end of that and going like, right, this team's got some chops.
so they're
I'm
so
not gonna
they're
I'm not gonna
yes, their
give
schedule, like, so if they beat the Rams, that's a convincing win. And I'm like, okay, the Colts are real after week 4. Their next game is against the Raiders. And I'm like, okay, that's kind
yeah,
of a layup.
soft, yep.
The next game's against the Cardinals.
Yeah,
Again,
yep.
you know, that's a soft, those are soft two games. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they
it's a
win those
reasonable.
two, they win those two or those 3 games we just talked about, they're going in 6-0. And then they've got the week after that is their first proper, what we'd say, like real challenge, which is that Chargers team.
Mm.
Could
Yeah,
head into week
The
7.
Rams and the Chargers, the Rams, don't count them out. Like
Hmm.
they had a really good game in Philly. Like they were very unlucky to get beat there against, potential like the Super Bowl holders and potential to win another Super Bowl. So it's just one of those things. The Rams will be a real test.
Hmm.
If they go out against the Rams and lay a complete goose egg, it's not like you can just write them off, but
No,
people will kind of go like, "Oh, right, okay, this is
I
more."
I think you can do though a little bit. I think when in football, if you have a big loss like that, if you can't step up to a good team, like everybody's talking about the Packers, you know, they just absolutely shit the bed against the Browns, and everybody's written them off.
Yeah,
Okay, you beat the Lions in week 1, but week 1 almost it's a weird one because it's like it almost doesn't really count.
makes liars out of us all. It's
Yeah,
weird.
like week 1 is just it's an anomaly week. Week sort of like, you know, then teams get into it and start sort of shifting around. Obviously, if you get early wins, that's great. But like the Rams have, like the Colts have a really easy schedule. But I mean, you're writing off the Packers as the number one team in that sort of division or a top 5 team because of the loss they've just had. So I think you could write them off pretty quickly if
Yeah,
they sort of if they absolutely make a mess of the Rams.
yeah. So I just tend to not. I tend to not overreact to those kind of things. I like to see,
Hmm.
right, are you going to continually do that? Um, I, to be honest, I react more to the Ravens' two losses than anything else because that's the Ravens just backing up what we know that they are.
Hmm.
They kind of choke in the big spots, and they just haven't quite got over that yet. So this is a big week for the Ravens, but it's not necessarily a big week for the Colts. If the Colts go and lose against the Rams, they probably would have been circling that at the start of the season, going like, "Ah, we can take the L there, move on." If they keep doing that, that's where the issue comes in.
I mean, and the schedule's pretty like I mean, their schedule's pretty easy. I mean, apart from the Chargers, then 4 or 5 weeks later they played the Chiefs,
Mm.
and
Yeah, the
then
Chiefs. Yeah, we've got that division this year.
they've got the Steelers in there, which the Steelers haven't looked that great this year. Okay, they've got the Seahawks. The Seahawks kind of look, and then apart from anyone in their division, it's like the 49ers. again, it's just sort of like it's actually quite a soft, almost softish schedule.
Yeah.
You're not talking about, they're not playing the top teams in the AFC or the NFC.
Gonna
On the way the
put it
divisions
into
are.
this. Hold on. 48 minutes. Thomas gushes about Colts.
I
Here you go.
understand
Yeah.
they've got an easy schedule. Easy schedule.
So do the Niners. 49ers might have the easiest schedule. That's what you get for stinking it up last year, I suppose. Like the Colts stank it up last year, so you get a nice cupcake schedule and you know see how you get on. If you make the playoffs, then you've made the playoffs with Daniel Jones, which isn't doesn't necessarily fill you with confidence. I don't know. Can I see them making the playoffs? Of course, at this point, like they're 3 and
Yeah.
0. Can I see them going on a run in the playoffs? Probably not.
No.
I just can't see it. Can I
No.
see them in the championship
There,
game? No.
there
They've
seems to,
got their
there seems to be
limitations.
no. There seems to be too many of the good teams. I mean, I don't see them going past you know, the way they're playing the Chargers, the even the Ravens.
Chargers,
So,
Bills, Ravens.
you know,
There's too many
they're not getting
good
past.
units out there. Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's kind of where I see it, and I think they squeaked the game against the Broncos, and that might be where they are. I mean, like that was a big
Yeah,
scalp for them against the Broncos. That might be where they are, and if that's their biggest win of the year, then fair enough. Don't want to belittle them too much, but there you go. Who do I have next? I'm gonna pick the Dublin game, and I'm gonna go for maybe an upset. I don't know if it's an upset. Vikings over Steelers. I like the I like the Vikings. We just talked about your pet team for
hmm,
what felt like 20 minutes. No, the Vikings and Rodgers like deceptively has looked really, really poor through the first 3 weeks of the season. He's not throwing a pretty pass. He's not keeping drives going, putting the ball in harm's way. Doesn't have a great connection with Metcalf. Okay, Metcalf gets the odd touchdown, but yardage wise, it's not looking good. Target wise, it's not looking good. I'm just waiting for like the floor to fall there, and I think the Vikings are really good. I think they're a really well run team. If they can keep that close, it's just whether Carson Wentz can run the show at quarterback. That's the only thing.
nobody can do. And they've still got all their good players as well. Like, I know they lost Aaron Jones,
Yeah, yeah.
but interesting. That could be a good one.
Mason season, Mason season. Yep, be a good game down in Dublin. It's never
Nice.
good.
Oh, I'm gonna go for this close one. I'm gonna go for Texans over Titans.
Texans over Titans.
I feel like it's a must win for the Texans. As
Yeah.
in, if they have any hope of trying to salvaging any of their season, they need to win this game.
Oh yeah, I mean the 0-3
0-3
it
from what we
already leaves you with a really small percentage chance of making the playoffs. 0-4 is pretty much like you might as
yeah,
well just prepare for next
exactly.
season.
Like, that is just that's a tough one.
What is going on with CJ Stroud? Like, can we
He's
discuss
completely
that? What
ripped.
is yeah, what's happened there, and whose fault is it? Is it on Stroud? Is it on like he's got a new play caller this year. He's got an entirely new line this year. Is there just something going on with the Texans in general? But he's not seeing the field well.
No, he's not. And I don't know what's going on. I mean, their defense hasn't been that solid either. It's just sort of like, they got rid of Gardner Johnson as well. Let him go this week.
Yeah, I
No,
saw a
he
lot
wasn't.
of a lot of reasoning behind that. I mean, he was terrible against the Jags. He was really poor. And like the blown coverage that leads to the Jags basically winning touchdown is on him. He's the safety there to pick up the deep right.
Yeah,
So the corner's kind of tracking back, but he's like, I've got safety help, so I'll just like pass him off. And then for some reason, Gardner Johnson steps up instead of back, and the ball just goes right past him. And Brian Thomas is way down the field for like 45 yards or whatever it was. That's all she wrote. But yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be feeling too sorry for Gardner Johnson. He's very like, if you see him, he squares up to Trevor Lawrence at one point in that game. He does it to everybody. He was the one that squared up to Baker Mayfield, I think. You know, the one that
Wait, what?
Baker Mayfield
Oh,
was
where he
down with the
popped
injury
up.
and
Yeah,
bounces up. Yeah, I think that was him as well. So he's got a reputation for that kind of stuff. So good riddance, I suppose.
that leaves you with the last game then. Falcons Commanders.
Falcons Commanders. Oh man, this is a tough one. I have this one right down at the bottom of my list as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to touch this one with a 10-foot pole. I know like the Falcons just had that big loss, but
But
oh,
Marcus Mariota potentially. Hopefully Daniels, but Marcus Mariota. I'm still going to go Commanders, I think, but that's a close one. I think the Commanders are better all-round squad. Again, it's close. That's going to be a really close game, but I'm going to just about give it to the Commanders. Just about. They need to work out what's going on with the running game. Well, I say that, but the running game was fantastic last week, but they need to get consistent with it. Wait, was it McNichols had the 60-yard touchdown in that game? I just crazy stats.
yeah.
Give the ball to Bill, though, please.
Oh,
Well, Cross Key Merritt just not getting the ball at all.
there's a lot of hype about him, and I don't think he's living up. He's not living up to it.
No, he's definitely not.
He's definitely not. He's just I don't know what's going on with him. Everybody else around him seems to be better at getting production. Is he
Yeah,
the new? Is he the new? What's his name? Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
just think as well. Like there's been complaints. The way I was talking about with Travion Henderson earlier, typically when a rookie's left out is because they can't pass block.
Hmm.
Apparently, Cross Key Merritt can't pass block, so that's a lot of the reason that he's being left out of third down, which means he's being left out of the rest of the stuff. Whereas in college, he was flexed out as a receiver a lot of the time, so he didn't have to block. So it's just interesting. But yeah, hopefully he starts to cook a little bit.
Let him cook.
Look, right, I'm gonna stop the share and then we're gonna get serious for a second.
Oh, okay.
Gonna go to the fantasy football advice hotline. And the question this week is, what do you do with rushing quarterbacks? That's it. What do you do with quarterbacks in the draft? What do you do with them in your team? Um, and really the value of rushing quarterbacks is in standard scoring leagues. We're in a couple of standard scoring leagues. And because standard scoring leagues have 4 points per passing touchdown for a quarterback, it means that rushing touchdowns worth 6 points are much more valuable. Also, rushing yards, where you're getting a point for every 10 yards, much more valuable, which just means that it just skews everything. Just skews everything. If you have a quarterback who can run the ball, changes things. To kind of put it into perspective, so last season, you're talking like your absolute top quarterbacks, rushing quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
We know Lamar Jackson, 915 yards, four touchdowns. That is an additional 115.5 points on your season. So you're taking those passing numbers that are already great for Lamar Jackson and you're just stacking onto them. It's great. Whereas Joe Burrow, historic season passing the ball, unbelievable season passing the ball, better than anybody in the league, but only 201 rushing yards and two touchdowns. So he's only getting 32.1 points to add on to it. That's why he was like 100. He ended up the season about 100 points down on Lamar Jackson. That's where the difference is. It's all in the rush yards. And it becomes even more relevant when you look further down the list. We're talking about Bo Nix. Bo Nix won me a fantasy league last year, and it's not because he was a great passer. He had 430 rushing yards and four touchdowns, which doesn't sound like a lot. But again, that's 67 additional points that you're not getting. Your floor every week then is like 5 or 6 points higher than any other team's quarterback. You're coming up and playing against Jared Goff, who had 56 rushing yards the entirety of last season. You know, you're getting an advantage. You're getting an advantage of, as I say, about 4 or 5 points a game. That's
You
yeah,
want
and
so
you
you
do
want a Russian quarterback.
you want a rushing quarterback, and I mean,
You
putting
want
it
a
into
Russian
perspective,
quarterback.
even this season, if you look at your top, well, we'll even break it down. Your top five quarterbacks at the moment. This is what they're on pace for so far this year. So Lamar Jackson is on pace for 669 yards and 5 touchdowns. Very nice. Josh Allen, 646 yards and 11 touchdowns. He's number two. Caleb Williams is on pace for 550 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's great. Daniel Jones, like this is where the on pace for numbers go ridiculous because if you've scored more than 2 touchdowns, your on pace numbers are ridiculous. Daniel Jones, 311 yards, not great. 17 touchdowns he's on pace for. He scored 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts has scored 4 touchdowns through the first 3 weeks of the season. He's on pace for 22 touchdowns on the year, rushing the ball. So you just look
Yeah.
at that floor. Like Patrick Mahomes is a great example. Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked great on the field. He hasn't passed the ball well. He doesn't have that many yards. He only has 3 touchdowns passing the ball. He's the quarterback eight because he's rushed the ball for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's just a weekly basis. They're giving you an advantage that other guys who drafted, say somebody drafted, as I say, Jared Goff, certain rounds. If you drafted, prime example, Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's a great quarterback. Great quarterback. Passes the ball all over the field, scores loads of touchdowns. Brilliant. He is on pace for minus 45 rushing yards. He's on minus 8 rushing yards through 3 weeks, and he's the quarterback 16. So that's just what it does to you. It just tanks your whole team. Aaron Rodgers is on pace for 17 rushing yards, and he's the quarterback 11, despite the fact that he's thrown quite a few touchdowns. So it's just
I mean, if you think
look
about that,
you look for any advantage.
if you think about that Stafford stat, if you look at it at the end of the year, if he does get the minus 4.5 yards or 45 yards,
Mhm.
that's minus 4.5 points.
Minus 4.5 points. Yeah, that's
Compared
it's
to
so much more
if you
significant.
just talking about yards, excluding any rushing TDs or anything like that. But if you're talking about, end of year, um, who was it? Lamar Jackson, 651. That's
Oh,
60
yeah,
points.
yeah,
You're talking about a 70-point swing,
yeah.
close to 3 points a week difference.
Well, Patrick Mahomes is on pace. He's the highest rushing yard total so far. So he's on pace for 708 yards on the season. I mean,
708 yards. So you're talking about 75 points swing, which over the 16 weeks is close to
yeah,
close to 5 points. Close to 5 points a week.
yep.
That difference is going to be. So this is why you want a Russian QB. The points are better. It's not 4 points and 0.25,
Basically, if you're going into a draft, this is the way I looked at the draft when I was in it this year, and this is the way going forward. I never say just like don't go in just looking for a rushing quarterback. Obviously, go in with your list and go like, right, Baker Mayfield's really good, Justin Herbert's really good, whatever. Go in with your list, but always have it in your mind like, okay, if this guy doesn't fall to me, let's pivot. Let's go for a rushing quarterback. Justin Fields in his starts this year, he's looked really mobile. He's looked really good. Justin Fields, there's a crazy stat that I wish I remembered. I know for a fact when he's played a full season, he hasn't finished outside the top 10 in QB fantasy points, which is crazy because he hasn't been a good QB on a good team. So because he's giving you that rushing baseline of like 10 points a week rushing, he doesn't need to be good passing the ball. So if you get late into a draft and you realize, oh crap, I don't have a quarterback, go and pick somebody up who has a rushing upside. Drake May was my guy this year. He was like my in case of emergency break glass quarterback. He was the quarterback 16 off the board in average draft position. He's sitting there as the quarterback 6 at the moment because he's on pace for about 500 rushing yards. So that's the kind of baseline you're looking for.
That's exactly what you want. Russian QBs. Russian QBs win leagues.
Rushing QBs, not as much as they used to, but definitely they do win leagues.
Defenses win championships. Rushing QBs win fantasy leagues.
This
Quote,
is it. It's
quote
kind of
of
the
the
way I've
day.
lived. Yeah, like Jaden Daniels last year. If you had Jaden Daniels, like again, did not pass the ball a lot, didn't get a lot of passing touchdowns, but just ran the ball for nearly 1,000 yards. So that's the special sauce to get you to the fantasy playoffs at the very least.
And when you're in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. We
Anything,
know that. We know that. You could have the worst team in the world. You get to the playoffs.
anything can happen.
You could fluke a 150 point week and boom, you've won the whole thing. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy times.
I mean, I
But yeah,
suppose if we talk about,
go ahead.
I was going to say we're going to talk about winning leagues. Should we recommend a few starts and sits that are going to help win leagues?
Exactly what I was going to say.
Hits and misses. Oh, great minds.
It's hits and misses. So again we'll go
How,
to we'll go to the spreadsheet, which is oh my goodness, again mostly red, but it's getting more
oh,
green. It's getting more green.
oh God! Every single one of my hits
Your hits
were an
were
absolute
abysmal
miss.
this week. Yeah. Yeah. Bashal Tootin tried to save you by getting a touchdown, but Jag's got nothing going on the ground in that one.
Yeah,
Um,
I
let me
mean,
see. Are there any other egregious ones?
we can't really count my. You can't even count Evan Ingram because he was a did not play. So I only
Yeah,
got
that's
one right
yeah.
last week.
I'm giving you guys Evan Ingram because we picked that early in the week that we didn't even know there was anything wrong with Evan Ingram, and then all of a sudden he's out. But
He's out. No, I wouldn't give it. I put that as a yellow. That still counts as a miss.
you put it as a yellow.
Yeah, I put it as a yellow, just being like it's a do not count.
Ooh, ooh, right, okay, harsh but fair, harsh but fair.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
we'll see where we're at so far because now I have to remove that from your breakdown. It's not looking it's definitely not looking good. So I'm gonna have to put that as
hmm,
oh, well, we do it 4 of 23 because
yeah,
that doesn't count at all, and it's the same for was it Nathan had it as well?
I think it was Adam maybe.
Well, we'll go and check. No, I think Nathan's the bottom. Hold on. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Nathan's the bottom.
But I'm feeling confident about
Nathan's a big old bottom.
I'm feeling confident about my picks this week.
So he is 8 for 23 as well. I pulled myself up a little bit, so I'm sitting at 33%. Adam's the best of us at 38%.
Which is
But definitely
disgusting.
definitely not good.
Yeah.
It's getting better. I mean, if you look at the amount of red there,
Hmm.
there's less red, and now there's less red and some
Yeah.
yellow. So, like that's
It's
the way it
improved.
goes.
I know. But this is
This
the
is
thing. Those first few weeks are always sort of a
Geno Smith was terrible. Mark Andrews, terrible advice.
yeah.
Cortland Sutton, awful advice. Rashad Bateman, actually bad advice as well. Jeez Louise. Just not good all around. Got to do better.
And I plan to right now.
Okay, I'm gonna stop my share and we're back.
All right. Do we want to go through quarterback? Do you want me to just go through all my starts?
I think yeah,
All
if you
my,
just go through all your starts, I'm gonna actually jot down. Yeah, you go through all your starts, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
all right. Let's go for it. Okay. So my first start after stinking up the joint last week is going to be Jordan Love. I think that
Ooh.
Cowboys defense is not very good, and Jordan Love has a little bit of things to prove after last week against the Browns. So I think he's going to come back, and then also the Cowboys have put up so many good points for Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts. Can't see that trend ending.
Yep.
Uh,
Like
next start, running back. This is so easy. This is just so easy. Trey Benson.
Trey Benson and Hedges, nice.
Trey Benson. Don't even need to explain why. He is now the number one guy. Number one guy. at Arizona against the Seahawks, which has been pretty good um, at giving away big runs to running back. So keep an eye out for that one. That could be a big hit as
Okay.
well. Going into wide receivers, want to start Rome Odunze. He is the de facto number one receiver at the Bears, and also that Raiders defense has struggled against defending the pass.
Yeah, I like it, Jonesy.
So I think that's a good start there. And then I had to throw in a Patriot. I'm going to say start Hunter Henry for the New England Patriots. They're against the Panthers. That's a very porous team. Obviously, not last week where they gave up 0. But Hunter Henry has been a trusted target for Drake May.
11 targets last week. 11
11.
targets.
And he's catching as well. So, you know, not only am I going to say he's a hit, but he could be the tight end one going into week 4, coming out of week 4.
The tight end won for a second week in a row. Jeez, that's
Yeah.
it's a lot of faith in old Hunter Henry.
There you go. Well,
And I mean old.
but he's reliable. He's consistent. Drake May just feeds him the ball. We're off to a good start.
Fair enough. Right. I have not even thought about my heads, so let's just dive into it. I did have Jordan Love on my list. I'm going to cross him off.
You're allowed to have the same one as me.
Well, no, I had him as a possibility for the obvious reasons that you're talking about. Um, oh, got a couple of tasty ones. I'm gonna say like the opposite of what we did last week. I'm gonna say Geno Smith's season. Let's go. If, if,
Jeez.
if you're struggling for a start at quarterback, go with Geno. Geno, I think, is going to throw the ball a lot. I think the Bears are terrible in the secondary. Um, and yeah, I mean, it'll be even better if the game gets away from him because then he just starts chucking it like he did against the Commanders. So yeah, why not? I'm just gonna go. I had Geno and maybe Caleb Williams in the same game down there, but I'm gonna say Geno. I'm gonna say Geno. Why
I
not?
like it.
Gonna go Geno, and then we're gonna go a running back. We're gonna go Nick Chubb. Talked about
Nick.
the Titans not
Well,
being able to tackle. Nick Chubb is still the bell cow back at that team. He is just getting the ball all the time. He's actually running quite well with it. Wasn't great against the Jags. The Jags are a deceptively good run defense, though. People kind of sleep on the Jags being a good run defense, but we've got some really good like tackling linebackers. And the Titans don't. Like Jonathan Taylor just ran right through them. So I'm gonna go Nick Chubb in a soft matchup there. I did have Trey Benson penciled in here as well, but I'm gonna go Nick Chubb. My wide receiver, I'm going risky with these. These are ones that if you're watching this and you really need a spot start, you're struggling with injuries, you've been hit by like say Mike Evans is out, uh, you don't really know who to start, you're panicking. Darnell Mooney might be out there somewhere.
oof.
Darnell Mooney got 11 targets. Again, the Hunter Henry thing. He got 11 targets last week. The only reason he didn't do particularly well with them is like that whole offense didn't do well. But if he gets 11 targets, I can who are they playing this week? They're against Washington, so Washington decent defense, but they pepper him with the ball. This guy gets a touchdown. That's a hit on the week. That's saved your week. If you need a flex start, that's saved your week.
I like it.
And my hit at tight end, I'm gonna go TJ Hawkinson. Gonna go
Interesting.
at the Steelers. Hawkinson had a bit of a bounce back week last week against the Bengals. The Steelers just gave up 25 fantasy points to Hunter Henry. You know, why not? Why not? Like Carson Wentz seems to be targeting Hawkinson a lot more than McCarthy was. Why not Hawkinson? Tight ends are tough this week, but Hawkinson I think could be a good start.
I like it. I do actually have a couple of honorable mentions as starts as well, just because there's less of us on here.
Yeah, why not? Throw them in.
All right. Just on QB, I also had Drake May on my list. I know
Ooh.
I wanted to go Patriot, but that Panthers team, apart from against the Falcons, hasn't been very good. Another one, obviously, we talked about him a lot with a lot of injuries and him stepping up and also having a great week last week, but he is possibly on track to be, a top five RB. Amarian Hampton.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
he's going to be that bell cow there going forward. One I actually quite liked as well, just going into sort of having pretty good last season, bouncing back, against a sort of weak defensive team against wide receivers. Again, against the Bears, Jacoby Myers,
Yep.
quite
Oh,
like,
yeah,
quite liked him as well. And then
definitely.
also one that I think could be quite a sort of sleeper at tight end is Jake Ferguson.
Jakey Ferguson. I like Jake Ferguson. I think
He
he's
could
he's
be
got to get
he
he's got
could
to get targets, doesn't he? He
He's
has to
gonna
get
he's gonna
targets.
get targets now that CD Lamb's out. It can all be on picking, so I think he could be one that you might want to pick up.
And again, he had a bit of a bounce back the last couple of weeks. He's been playing well. So yeah, I like Jake Ferguson. Got him in a dynasty league, so fingers crossed. I did have guys like talked about Aya Manor in the waiver pickups kind of thing. I had him penciled in as well because I think there's a real chance that Houston secondary is just being destroyed. Stingley's struggling with an injury as well, so if they're down to like if they don't have any cornerbacks left, if Gardner Johnson's just gone, is that team just in complete disrepair? Also think Ricky Pearsall against the Jags is a solid choice if you're looking at wide receiver help. Shush.
Oh, love that. Love these honorable mentions.
Kill that. Jeez. This whole thing's being derailed by the dog. She never barks as well. But anyway.
I
Oh,
do
I,
think
I, I do not even have any. I don't even have any misses. I'm going to be doing an Adam. I don't have any misses jotted down at all. I'm going to let you go with your misses, and I'm going to open sleeper.
all right. I am gonna say, and even though this might contradict one of my picks earlier, for the game picks, I'm gonna say it's too risky to be playing CJ Stroud.
Yeah, yeah,
He hasn't scored more than 15 fantasy points this season. Titans defense isn't a walkover. Like, it's okay for running backs, but for wide receivers and quarterbacks, it's a risky play. I wouldn't say start him confidently. I might be wrong. He might have a breakout, but that's my sit. Just I've got very little confidence in the guy. If you've got someone else, play someone else. Uh, you
yeah,
know, there's other wide receivers. Wentz could have a good game. He might be more worth a pickup uh, you know, than trying to play CJ this year until he actually becomes a little bit more consistent. This one is going to be an interesting one as well. My sit for running back. Everybody should be starting to think about benching Isaiah Pacheco.
yeah, definitely.
No idea what's going on with this Chiefs offense, this committee system. The Ravens defense. It's pretty inconsistent, but it's still a tough matchup. And they might need to rely on Patrick Mahomes's arm game, especially if it's going to be a shootout if the offense keeps going the way it's been going on that Ravens team. So there might not be a lot of running ground. Plus, Pacheco has not managed to get more than 50 yards a game this season, and that's all-purpose yards. So
Yeah, I honestly think. I mean, I do still think that the Ravens are susceptible to a running game. I just think that they're going to start to give the ball to Kareem Hunt more
yeah,
for whatever reason. So,
no, it's just one of those weird systems.
yep,
Wide receiver. This wide receiver is actually quite high on the boards going off. I think you should start be benching T. Higgins. He has been struggling without Joe Burrow, and I can tell you, I don't know if that's going to improve over the next few games. I think the Vikings kind of showed the blueprint to beat the
yeah,
Bengals without Joe Burrow. So unless there's been a lot of adaptation, a lot of changes, a lot of things going on this week, I can't see the T. Higgins production going that much up. But again, he's a great wide receiver. He's got Jamar Chase taking defenders away from him. maybe he gets open, but I'm just saying it's too inconsistent to be playing him. And then tight ends. I think this is the one where we start benching again. Tight end, great name, solid tight end in fantasy season the past few years. But Mark Andrews, probably start benching him now. Uh,
Mark Andrews had a great week last week. He was a bench last week that just took off.
it's inconsistent. I don't know what it is about that Ravens offense. There's no consistency in the offense. You know, it's feast or famine. Um,
Feast or famine. I like that. I like that. Feast or famine.
and I think this week's going to be famine.
This week's going to be famine. Yeah, no, I gotta agree. So I am scouting. I'm looking for. No, my miss a quarterback. He's been running about like a headless chicken the first few weeks. Kyler Murray
Mm.
against the Seahawks. I think he's a solid miss this week. He's still. This goes into the kind of like rushing QB kind of thing. If he leans into the rushing more, which he hasn't been doing, then he has a bit of upside. But as far as passing the ball goes, he is struggling. Even when he does find Marvin Harrison, they're just not on the same page. There's just something going wrong there, and the Seahawks defense looking really good through the first few weeks. So if that's a bit of like a defensive tussle on Thursday night, I would avoid a lot of guys in that game, I think. Running back wise, again, let's scramble, scramble, scramble. Ooh, I mean, you hear that's the Brees Hall. There's a chance that he might be traded. There's some trade talk going on with Brees Hall. I don't
I
know who he's
mean,
going to trade from, but there's a lot of injuries at running back. So
there's a lot of injuries at running back, but I think if you're needing a team that needs a good running back, and he's an okay, he's not like an elite running back. He's had a couple of injuries and he's not great, but like we talked about them, the Chiefs, they don't know what's going on in their running back room. You've got an older Kareem Hunt and a not productive Isaiah Pacheco.
yeah, the
Um,
Chiefs. I don't know. The Chiefs have more issues than that.
Texans, who they've got recently recovered from a horrific injury. Nick Chubb, who
Yeah,
I'm surprised has still got a leg attached to him after that one.
jeez, yeah,
You
true.
know, then they've got what Joe Mixon coming back from a bad injury. Then they've got Davian Pierce
It's
coming back. You know, there's teams out there that need them.
it's really really rough, really rough. A guy who's struggled a lot. They keep trying to give the ball to. I'm gonna give my bench to DeAndre Swift. I think people need to start thinking about the way you're doing it here. Just start thinking about sticking him on the bench. Like DeAndre Swift is not helping you win matchups at the moment. He just doesn't seem to be explosive. Like he used to be an explosive running back with the Lions and even briefly with the Eagles, but no, there's just nothing there.
And for someone with such a good name for a running back,
Swift, I know.
yeah, you expect him to be absolutely elite.
Like
I mean,
Lightning McQueen or something, I don't know. Shocking. Shocking. Oh, I mean, is that a good one? Chris Olave could be an honorable mention there. Has he been struggling? I think he got some targets last week, but 8.9, 8.4, 10.7. He hasn't been great. The only thing is they're up against the Bills, and I think they'll be playing from behind most of that game. So he'll get
um,
targets, that's for sure.
but also it's that Saints offense. Like, what are they doing?
Well, yeah. Okay. Is Spencer Rattler the answer there?
Oh
Probably not.
no,
No, no,
no,
absolutely
no,
not.
no. But
Um,
you know who is coming back soon, and this might be fancy relevance. Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill's coming back.
Taysom Hill might be coming
Ah,
back soon.
that's a weird like game for anybody who listens to this who has no kind of like fantasy football history. Taysom Hill's like sneaky cheat code because he can come in and play snaps at quarterback, at running back, at tight end, and you can just put him into your flex spot or tight end spot and just not even
Yeah, I
worry about
believe
him.
on the depth charts, he's flagged as a tight end.
Yeah,
But
which is
the way Rattler's been playing, he could be playing QB. Now imagine having a Q, imagine having a QB in your tight end slot.
yeah.
That's championship winning stuff right there.
But even if he comes on and plays like 10 snaps like quarterback, that could be 10 points. He can just go off
E-
and
Even if you're talking about a low scoring quarterback, and a low scoring quarterback is 10 points, that's still better
yeah,
than most tight ends.
yeah,
Apart from the odd ones that are having good games, and we're talking about low games. And
low games.
he likes to run the ball. He's going to sneak in a few touchdowns.
Here's somebody that I'm gonna piggyback off my own Kyler Murray one and say Marvin Harrison. Like you've got to think about maybe if you have better options in your team, bench him for a week or two and just see what's going on there. Probably because of where you've drafted him, you don't have that option. But Marvin Harrison's just not like what. Let's see what are his points through 3 weeks. 15.6 week one, grand. 3.7 and 5.9, and he was the leading receiver against the Niners. So that tells you where Kyler Murray is. It tells you what's going on there, and they're up against pretty good defense. So
Yeah,
I
it's
would
good.
I would not feel confident starting him. I would probably start him if I had him because what choice do you have? But not feeling good about it. Tight end. There's so few like truly productive tight ends this year.
It means you can't get a miss wrong. You can go for like a popular one.
Go for like the number one tight end in all of fantasy football and just see what happens. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go for a bit of an interesting one because I do think that the Cleveland Browns defense is better than people give them credit for. I know they're going away to the Lions, but Sam Laporta, like this is a former tight end one in fantasy on the year, and a lot of people still drafted him as if he's going to be some version of that, and he's just not.
It's
He's
just not. He's one that is, and I think we're going to talk about this next week, but stock value.
Yeah, Sam Laporta. If you have him in Dynasty, what are you even going to get from him at this point? I don't know. Because that's not how their offense runs. It used to. It doesn't really do that anymore. Yeah. So I'm going to go, yeah, Sam Laporta against the Cleveland Browns, I think. Going to struggle to get many points. That's it. That's our hits and misses
I
for this
do have
week.
a
We'll
couple of honorable mentions on misses as well to consider.
go for it.
Dak Prescott, he's a little
Yes,
bit of a
yeah.
miss. I think that Packers team it's a tough defense.
Yep,
Uh, Second fewest fancy points to quarterbacks. That's going to be a bad one. Obviously we talked about him. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Bill. You need to start thinking about benching him. There was a lot of hype. People probably drafted him quite high and got really excited when Eckler went down, but it just doesn't seem to be paying off. Um,
sure.
and then I'm going to throw this out there, and this is going to be a bit of a wild one, but just in the way the defense played last week and the way they've been playing this season, I think DK Metcalf's going to have a bit of a rough showing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on the DK Metcalf thing. As I was saying earlier, I don't really think Rodgers has shown through 3 weeks that he has that kind of ability to, just to throw the ball 40 times for 400 yards. It doesn't seem like that's in his repertoire at the moment. And if that's not there, then what value is DK Metcalf going to have? I'd say unless he scores a touchdown, he's pretty much irrelevant on a weekly basis at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So there's our
Like
hits. There's our
Calvin,
misses.
Calvin Austin, weirdly, a better pick. Like, let's see that. How many points does DK Metcalf? Because a lot of people were drafting DK Metcalf as if he was like the be all and end all at the start of the year.
I mean, with Pickens going, he was gonna be the number one wide receiver in that. Oh, he is the number one wide receiver in that team. But I think it all comes down to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's against the number one pass defense. He hasn't scored too bad. I mean, 10.3, 9.5, and 10.7, but that's what I want to see. How many of those? He's scored two touchdowns through 3 weeks. So that's where your points are coming from.
But
Wide
then,
receiver 26, 39, and 30. So it's not
yeah,
good.
great. That's a wide receiver two or flex at best.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
can?
like bottom end. One that
Yeah,
not even bottom end, more like top end wide receiver three, possibly four. It's not good.
it's almost worth like is this the he might have a breakout game. It's sort of like Zay Flowers. We talk about boom or bust. Feast or famine. He might have a good week, but are you going to keep playing him for mediocrity? You know,
Yeah,
playing, playing the same guy every week for that boom week doesn't win you championships.
yeah. I
You
mean,
just gotta make a call and you gotta get lucky occasionally.
there's always like there's a weird chance that Rogers they'll just like click at some point, and
Mhm.
Rogers will just target him for like 16 targets in a game, and he'll go off for 160 and two touchdowns. That's a chance. There's a chance that
Yeah.
happens. Where better than in Dublin, the spiritual home of the Rooney family and all this kind of stuff. It could happen. There's just been no evidence of it through 3 weeks.
No, none yet. And then don't forget Rogers is like 40 years old or something, so
True.
he's up there. He's
As I
no
say,
Tom Brady.
like my worry at the start of the year was more on the Seahawks side. It's like, well, okay, you've thrown Darnold in there, but he doesn't have an O line. He's got nobody to throw to. What's going to go on there? And then Darnold's just like bombs away, just like throw. Smith and Jigba's like 330 yards through 3 weeks of the season. Cooper Kupp's getting his targets as well. It just looks like a really efficient offense. And then you look at the Steelers and you're like, what is going on there? Some games he'll go out and not target the tight ends at all. The next game he'll go out and send like 10 targets across to Fryermuth and Smith. So it's a bit of a mess.
I mean, I think one of the things that, you're drafting a lot of people. Interesting. Like if you look at the top wide receivers this season, like fancy, I'm talking just fancy wide receivers, you know, these are the people that went first. You went Jamar Chase.
Hmm.
He's not in the top 10.
True.
You went Justin Jefferson next. He's not
Yeah.
in the top 10.
No.
You know, think about other top ones. Mike Evans, obviously he's injured now, but not in the top 10.
Obviously, Amon Ra and Puka are like exceptions to that. They've injured
Amon,
them.
Amon Ra and Puka are exceptions. Everybody else.
Neighbors has been all right, but I'd imagine he's not in the top 10.
No,
Or is he
he
just
is
just about?
just number 9, but he did have that 40-point week last
Yeah,
week,
he had a
so
massive
that put him up.
second week.
I mean,
Brian
to be fair,
Thomas, no.
Brian Thomas, no, Lad McConkey, he was hyped to be having a good year as well. No,
Yeah, there's just
Terry
too many mouths to feed there. Keenan Allen's having an incredible season. Like he's just
Terry McLaurin
yeah.
again. He's not on there. He's not in the top 10.
What is it? Somebody said the other day as well. Yeah, contract holdouts are undefeated. Like
Yeah,
a contract holdout pretty much guarantees the first quarter of your season is just going to be absolute dog shit. Like you just gotta try to work with the rest. But
how could we forget CD Lamb, not top 10?
CD breaks my heart.
Yeah,
Did you see him try to come back in for one play and then just went to step off the ankle and it just wasn't there. High ankle sprain's a
and
bad one.
I found this really funny because I do some bets on American football,
Oh, yeah.
and
Newsflash.
I know there's some betting companies that turn around and say if they get injured in the first quarter, the bet's void, so you get your money back.
Oh man, yeah, I see where this is going.
And then he comes back for that one play, knowing he's injured, knowing he's got a high ankle sprain, comes back for
Yeah,
one play, which
yeah.
means then the bet is technically still active.
Yeah, well, this
You know,
is this is
the
it.
the other one, the Eagles, if the guy jumps on the ball, the spread was I think 3.5 points. The
Yeah.
guy jumps on the ball, saves the game. They win.
Yeah.
Do what they need
Cover
to
the
do.
spread.
The
Great
safe
job.
play, and that sort of cover the spread. But him picking that up and then being able to run it the whole way back, then made those points. Screwed those bets over as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, there's some things that annoy me about American football. Those two were a couple of them.
Did you bet on those two?
No, I never. I think I wanted the Eagles to win, so that did save me. Or no, not the Eagles. I wanted the. Oh no, the Eagles to win. Yeah,
Yep.
uh, yeah. So I
Fair.
wanted that one. So that did save me. Um, I think I didn't have anything on CD Lamb, but I just know that
Thank
I
goodness.
did see a thing where somebody else did have it. And I'm like, what's the point? You're injured. Everybody in the world saw your ankle break to an L shape.
Oh
Why?
yeah, it was
Yeah. Why are you
some
trying to
big
put that
big
on?
bugger lands on it. Oh no,
There's
it's
no,
just.
there's no point to it.
Oh, did you
No
see
point.
you see the coldest moment like ever as well? Like Najee Harris goes down. We all see it on the sideline. That Najee Harris goes down. Definitely torn Achilles or something. Goes down in a heap in a lot of pain. Justin Herbert just like hurdles him, like jumps over the top of him and throws a dart
Yeah,
downfield. So
that
just
Justin
completely
Herbert
ignores.
that Justin Herbert play is pretty pretty special. Like
Well,
to
the
be
Justin
fair.
Herbert one to Allen
Yeah,
for the win is remarkable play. Going to his
yeah.
left, trying to find a throwing lane with somebody just about to slap the ball. It's incredible.
So just on the if we're talking about top two rounds of fancy draft,
Hmm.
obviously we've got Puka, Amon Ra, Malik Neighbors.
Yep,
They're the three wide
they're
receivers in the top
hits.
10. They're hits. They're the three wide receivers in the top 10. Now, one of them I'm going to say is only on here because this one amazing week they've just had is Trey Tucker. He's a top 10 wide receiver. But that's only because he
Yeah,
had a 44-point week.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you know, okay, had some points in previous games, so that sort of like bumped his average up. But the likes of, you know, Jackson Smith, Najiba, I'd said that wrong, butchered that.
Jigba.
Najigba. But yeah, him, Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen, Garrett Wilson, Quentin Johnson, Amigo Buka. You're
Yeah,
never like that's just
you're
luck.
not going to predict them. Like
Yeah,
that's the
no,
thing.
no, I think you're going to be pretty disappointed. But like running backs, whenever we talk about running backs, because there's always a lot fewer running backs who are going to be elite in the league.
True.
There's a lot more wide receivers, but like the top one is Jonathan Taylor. Now
Yeah,
he was a probably a second or third round guy.
yeah. Back end of the second, start of the
Yeah,
third
back in
round
the
kind of
second,
guy.
seventh,
Yep.
third. James Cook probably again about the same time. Bijan number three, he was top round guy.
Yeah.
Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey top round guy. David
Hey,
Montgomery.
Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to do my week victory lap now before he gets horribly injured. So yeah.
Yeah. David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs, the two Detroit running backs, are in the
Back
top
to
10.
back. Yeah.
Both in the top 10. Javonte Williams, no one was ever going to predict that. I think he
No.
was going around 6 or 7.
Oh, even later in
Yeah.
a lot of drafts. Yeah, he was late. E
You know,
ETN must be there as well.
ETN is, yeah, he's number 8 this year.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
again, he was
he
dead
was,
to rights in drafts. People were drafting Tootin ahead of him. People
yeah,
were drafting Bigsby ahead of him.
that's the thing. Like, people were drafting the rookie running backs. Like, people were drafting Henderson over Stevenson.
Yeah. Yeah.
People were
People
almost,
were getting really like,
you
I
know,
don't know.
they were
You
drafting,
can get really in your head about it because rookie running back success is such a it's been so consistent over the past few years, and this was such a good running back draft. Everybody was like, "Well, these guys are, these guys have been drafted in the first two rounds in the
yeah.
actual NFL draft, so they're
Well, I mean,
bound to
like,
take over."
Alshon Genti, he's not in the top 10. He's not getting there.
Oh yeah, he's
You
nowhere
know,
near at the moment.
I think there's a couple others on here who I'm surprised by. J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins in the top 10. I kind of, I mean, he was a top. I think he was a top five fantasy running back through the first 4 weeks of last season as well.
He
He's
was he
weirdly.
was he was a top 10 running back last year overall, I think.
Yeah, he was
He was
weirdly.
He
He's
was.
he's
I
he's
got.
really good when he's fit. He's really efficient. So just yeah, stick him behind a
He
good O line.
he was never fit behind that Ravens, so he got injured pretty much every single year, and then he had a full season against the or with the Chargers, and then
Yeah.
looks he's having a good season with the you know with the Broncos, but RJ Harvey now being sort of pushed out. He was the one that was taken quite highly.
This is it. Harvey's really like I watched some of the Chargers Broncos game at the weekend, and Harvey needs Dobbins to get injured to have any relevance because Dobbins is their number one. Like it's ipso facto, like every single play they have a chance to get him in on. If they're bringing Harvey in, typically they're flexing him out as a receiver, and he's not getting the ball. So it's
Yeah.
just it doesn't look good for Harvey fans.
I mean, and then finally, like if you're looking at the number 10 RB this year, it's HM.
Oh yeah,
And you know what? To be fair, that's kind of where people did expect him to be a top 10 RB, and he was quite high. That's one of the ones where it's like
he's
fair
a
enough.
he's
Maybe,
he's a
we want to see it.
PPR machine. Like he is. Yeah,
Yeah,
he just gets targets.
yeah. These are all based on PPR scoring. And then the one where I think you're just having the least amount of variance in terms of position play, like I think the idea for this is to say you can't predict the NFL. Sometimes you can get it right.
Yeah,
Wide receivers, we were way off. Right? Running backs, you're a little bit more accurate and based on where they're getting picked, and but QBs are pretty much exactly who you'd expect to see there. Maybe one or two surprises,
yeah,
mainly Daniel Jones and Caleb Williams so far up, but everyone else is Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Baker
yeah.
Mayfield, Goff.
Baker Mayfield. Yep.
I
I say
obviously,
Drake May slipping into the top six. I mean,
yeah,
that's to me that's a surprise.
I, I think everybody thought Drake May would have been quite good, but then, I mean, here's the weird thing: there's been so many other bad QBs, like such bad QB play. Yeah,
True.
we're talking about Dak Prescott only getting more than 13 points in one game this season so far.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like every week, I'm going through like our hits and misses, and we've kind of set the bar for quarterbacks like 20 points. Because in previous years, you would have got 10, 10 or more quarterbacks getting 20 points a week. No problem. This like that past week there, I forget who I was looking at. One of our misses I put down as it was maybe Jones. Like he was sitting on about 17, 18 points.
Hmm.
He was the QB8 on the week.
Yeah,
Like that's how low the bar has been set this
the
year. It's like
bar
if you
is
can get
so
a
low.
quarterback who's going to score you 18 points, which in reality they don't
It's
have to do a lot. It's like 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns,
yeah,
So I don't know. It's been dire at
it's
quarterback.
it's hard to predict.
I just say
Fantasy,
unless you have Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, then unfortunately you're struggling.
yeah. Do I have a league where I have them in like in a two QB league, and I think I've got them both?
I might well that cried in the mic one, maybe. Jackson and Allen. I'm not sure. I'm sitting with Hurts and Daniels and that, and see what Daniels is always hurt. I mean, like that's just the issue. Ah, dear.
Yeah. Good
Well,
luck, everybody, in their fancy NFL weeks.
yeah, good luck in week 4, everybody, and yeah, we're hoping next week to have like fantasy, no, to have real life NFL power rankings
Hmm.
next week, which could be interesting. We'll get everybody's take and see what the consensus is on our power rankings. I know that me and Adam have already had fallings out because he has like drastically different ones to what I would have. He reacts quite strongly to like the way you were talking about earlier. It's like you
Hmm.
would write people off if they lost. I don't really react that way. So
Hmm.
Adam saw like the Packers would have maybe been like 3 or 4 in most power
Yeah.
rankings last week. Adam
Yes.
was like, "Oh, they'd be out of my top 10. They'd be out of my top 10." I was like, "Adam, listen, it's
I
all it's
but
it's all right."
I I can agree. Like, there's some losses that are just so egregious
Egregious. Nice word. Nice.
that you're just like that has to drop you not just one place. That's dropping you a few.
Yeah, I
You
get,
know,
I get it. I
you
get it.
know, and it's not just losing the game, but it's how you lose the game as well. Like, so for example, if you had the or the Giants losing to the Cowboys, but they both put up 40 points. It's a shootout for that, or the Bills versus Ravens, they both put up 40 points on each other. That's not going to affect your team's power rankings too much.
Yeah.
But only scoring 10 points against the bottom team or getting
It's a really
absolutely,
good defense. It's like the only thing they've got is a defense. It's
or
like,
even getting absolutely blowed out by the Vikings,
yeah, well, yeah,
or
yeah.
scoring
The
zero
Bengals
points on the
definitely.
or scoring 0 points on the Panthers.
Oh yeah, the Falcons and the Bengals would definitely have dropped down my rankings significantly. But to be honest,
Oh yeah,
I don't react to that. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's one of
yeah.
those things where we'll probably do like a quarter season, half season, three quarter, and a full season, and you'll kind of see how it plays out. But I just have a feeling that the Packers like bounce back from that, and by mid-season we'll be talking about them as like a 7-2, 8-1 team who are just really solid, and they're a top 10 team. So it's one of those things. Do you just knock them out of the top 10 for losing one match? I don't, but some people would.
But
We'll see.
I probably could think of, based on the last week, I could probably think of 7 or 8 teams I would have ahead of them. Quite
Well,
easily, at the top of the head now. But no, we're not
yeah,
going to do it now because we're not ruining anything. But
yeah, yeah. No, well, I can definitely think of four or five, but it's close. It's close.
Hmm. Yeah. But then, oh, the big thing next week as well, trading, fancy stock exchange.
We're gonna go yeah, what we're calling the fantasy stock exchange. So, are you buying these guys? Are you selling these guys? And what's their value like? Like, what are you going to get in return? We'll do it mostly redraft focused, but with like a bit of bit of a discussion towards the dynasty value of these guys, obviously, because that's where the bulk of trading is going to be done. But yeah, to help people in redraft leagues, you've really got to figure out. I like, for example, if you've got Brian Thomas through the first 3 weeks in the season, his value's low.
Hmm.
Do you sell him at this value, or do you hold him for another little bit, or do you just hold him indefinitely? Or do you, on the other side of things, because he's struggling, do you go out and trade for him on the cheap in the hope that he then bounces back? You buy the dip in the stock exchange, don't you, Thomas? You know this.
Yeah.
Buy the dip.
You
So
know, you sell high and you buy low. That's what you want to be doing. So when people are looking rough and in the dumps, this is when you want to try and take advantage of people who are having doubts, putting people on the benches, umming and ahhing. This is where you want to be saying, "Hey, look, I'll take this nuisance off your hands for you know the dust on the shelf here."
yeah,
Something like that.
true.
Um, or if you've got people, especially people with a good name, especially people that have a high draft stock, coming into the league as well. So everybody talking about Jamar Chase. Now he still might be good, but you could probably get a lot of good things for him.
Yeah,
Might
that's
be.
a really good save some of that
Yeah,
talk for next week.
we're
But
gonna
that
focus
is
on it.
that is a really good one. It's a really
Yeah,
interesting one.
it's just sort of things where it's just like there's ways that you're going to get more value for players, and it might just be name alone.
Yeah.
Um,
His value's obviously dipped with Browning, but
yeah,
has it dipped enough for people who maybe don't know as much about the sport, or people who just love Jamar Chase? Are they just going to go, oh, I'll give you one of my starting running backs and a starting wide receiver for that guy? And you're like, okay, well, fair enough. I'll take that and cash it in.
exactly.
See. We'll see.
So yeah,
So
we'll
yeah,
give you hints. We'll give you tips.
give you the tips next week. So guys, yeah, good luck on all your matchups this week, and thanks very much.
Thank you.